Gruesome Magazine.
Hello, once again, I'm your host, Doc Rodden, and this is Gruesome Magazine, where we review the very latest in streaming and video on-demand horror movies. Each week, my co-hosts, Jeff Mohr, Crystal Cleveland, Christopher G. Mohr, and I will take a look at various spooky, scary, and gory genre offerings. Tonight, we are reviewing Wow, Thunder!
Yeah.
Oh, the devil!
Holy crap.
we get storms different here in Georgia.
Oh my gosh. While we still are here, let me introduce the crew, starting off with Jeff Mohr. Jeff, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. I had to check my phone. It's sunny here, so since I'm in the basement.
I'm in the basement too, and you can still hear all that.
Holy mackerel, you can still hear it that loud.
That is what a beautiful sound. What a beautiful sound. All right, also joining this week is the Thunder Goddess herself, Crystal Cleveland, the Living Dead Girl. How you doing?
Like so electric. I am good. I'm thinking about this movie and excited to talk about it.
Yes, let's talk about it. All right.
See,
I'm glad you are. I'm glad you are. All right. Also joining us is award-winning filmmaker Christopher G. Mohr. How you doing, sir?
It's a Coda character. My heart's beating in my chest. Ba-thump, 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 ba-thump.
Ba-thump, 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 ba-thump. Okay. Thank you. Of course, we're here to review Of the Devil. What we're going to do tonight is we're going to start off giving you our first impressions. Those first impressions will be spoiler-free. Then we'll dive into a discussion. We might spoil a thing or two here and there. And then we'll wrap things up with our final thoughts, our score 1 to 5, and our favorite scene. We hope you enjoy not only this review, but many others. Stop it, Christopher. Many other reviews that we have on the site. And if you do, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, or share with a friend. It'll do wonders for us, and we'll greatly appreciate it. And of course, leave your comments down below.
You can leave your hate comments down below.
Please do.
We'll still love you.
We like all comments, except for personal attacks. Do not do personal attacks. Now we're going to get all personal attacks. But anyway, all right, let's look at the card, and we'll get into the review. All right, Of the Devil 2022 from Uncork'd. Available digital and VOD beginning August 9th, 2022. Directed by Kelton Jones. Written by Kelton Jones along with James Cullen Bressick. The cast includes, listen to this cast, Vernon Wells, Robert Lasardo, Devaney Pinn, Eileen Dietz, Jonathan Stoddard, Vicky Gundelson, Rosalind Gentle, Manuel Rafael Lozano, Torino Pouncey, Annabelle Barrett, and Kelton Jones. Synopsis is, Of the Devil follows a family desperate to find a cure for their young son's brain cancer. When unconventional treatments lead to the child being possessed by an ancient evil, hate it when that happens, the parents must fight not only for the child's life, but his very soul. The tagline is, evil comes in all sizes.
Okay, so wait, the mom is not listed in that list, just so you know.
I know. She's way down. I meant
on
to
IMDb.
fix that.
They probably did
way
it by
down.
the star meter. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's like Daniela
I could
something.
say something, but I'm not.
Daniela Pallavicino, is that right? Do I have the right person in there? Yes.
That's it. Yeah.
Daniela Pallavicino. Yeah.
Pacino. Probably is Pacino. So there you go. We do mention her.
Because she's like, in the movie more than anyone else.
Maybe she's trying to hide her name.
I don't like it how they do that in a lot of these films. They put them out of order. They should be in order of. Well,
you can list them by like star meter, so it's the most popular ones are going to be first. It kind of makes sense, because then whatever, doesn't matter. Sorry.
All right, well, let's do this. Let's dive into our first impressions. And Crystal, you are up first. What is your first impression of The Devil?
Okay. So, this is a religious movie, and the story is going to be very evident when you watch it. You're going to get it. You're going to understand it. Some of it seems a little odd and misplaced, but it's coherent and you understand what's going on. There is an opening scene that's a little confusing and does technically fit with the movie, but also is more of a distraction. Some of the acting in here is good. I really love Vernon. I love Eileen. She did a great job. Devaney's great. Oh, Robert Lasardo is one of my favorite actors. I think he is phenomenal in everything he does, and he steals the whole movie for me. I mean, in this, you know, he plays the surgeon. In case you don't know, if you watch this film, you'll know immediately. Yes. Okay, so I'll get on with it. They're like, come on. So here's the thing. There are quite a few issues with this film. A lot of it is cinematography based. There's sound issues. There's editing issues. There's some serious acting issues. There's some incongruent moments in the story and some really odd, weird choices as far as filmmaking, editing, and storytelling go. I actually found myself, unfortunately, laughing at some moments because they were not good and not meant to be laughed at, but I found myself laughing anyway. And I felt bad because I think there was a lot of talent involved in this film, but it did not come together. And I feel bad for the filmmaker because I'm sure that they tried, but I don't understand what happened. I don't know where the ball was dropped, but it just
I think we get the picture. Do you want us to save you from this?
Yeah.
Hard
I've
to watch.
Yeah.
We hear you.
I'm sorry.
All right, Christopher G. Mohr, what is your first impression? Please tell me. For the film of the devil. You have my attention. I'm glued.
I will say that if the devil saw this, he would take his name off of it.
No.
This film is the opposite of craftsmanship.
Oh.
It has bad editing. The cinematography is all over the place. The acting is atrocious. I don't care who's involved. They're all, I mean, some are better than others, but some of the main actors are just laughably, not even laughably bad. You can't even laugh at the performances. They're just bad. And a lot of that also has to do with the dialogue. There's so many elements that don't work. I will say maybe there's a few spots that if they'd done more of that, it would have been more interesting, but they don't know how to do a jump scare properly. There's just parts that just don't make sense. There's parts that are parts of different types of movies. You have the sort of the religious horror aspect of it, and then you have, wacky detectives from another action film. You have so many bad elements. I mean, the opening scene it involves a club, and it's all the same type of shot, edited over and over and over. This film is, I hate to say it, this is embarrassing. And as a filmmaker, I was dumbfounded from beginning to end and annoyed because you have a few people like Vernon Wells and other people that are known, for what they do, but the ending is just horribly horrible. I mean, you can throw a filter on it as much as you want. It doesn't make up for the fact it's a bad ending. And shot on a stage made like for a high school play. It's the production design in that last looks horrible. And they just had Vernon Wells reading from a book for the good part of the last part of it, so he doesn't necessarily have to do much. The audio is all over the place. There's a part where Vernon Wells shows up outside and it's like shot with a different microphone. I mean, it's like there's so many low levels of quality back and forth throughout this whole film and I don't think they. There's a moment with the kid that's supposed to be shocking, and it's like, am I watching Drag Race? What is going on here? I don't
know what scene you're talking about.
I'm literally like, am I watching?
Yeah.
Did my screener change from something else? I'd love to say more nice things about it, but I'm like, this is the worst film I've seen this year.
Ouch.
Down, no other film compares, mainly because of just talking about drop the ball. You dropped every ball in every gym in the world in this film. I'm just like, I hate to say that, but I'm just like, I don't know. There's so many missing elements, and it makes me kind of feel sad because as someone that makes films myself, it takes a village, it takes a team of people to make these things. But I don't know, something's missing from this. So many different elements are missing for this, and I didn't believe anything that was happening, and a lot of this thing doesn't make sense. So anyway,
worst film, huh? Worst film. Yeah, I guess you're saying it's notable. All right, let's.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Notable. Joe, what was your first impression of the? Sorry, Christopher. I had to do that.
Well, I wish I could be more positive. The thing that bothered me the most right off the bat was the sound, and then I would say the timing. Everything was just off. So which I would assume is editing. There was too long a cut. And I don't know how much of this. It felt like it was dubbed, and that's why like the sound didn't. And then some of the time the sound sounded like it was in the room that they were in, and it was echoing. In a drywall
hollow.
room, and so I don't know. I had a hard time understanding some of it, some of the dialogue. I'm with the big disturbing scare scene. I could tell it was supposed to be disturbing, but there was something about it that I was kind of like, that should be creepy, but it's funny, and or maybe not even funny, but sorry, I too love Robert Lusardo is like a guy. I don't know how he did it, but he made.
He's 58 years old. Let me just tell you how hot he is. Okay, I'm just saying.
Oh yeah,
hot. Sorry.
Vernon Wells was fine. Eileen Dietz is fine, but again, I think she suffered from the cinematography and the editing and the sound. Anyway, I don't know what to say. It's supposed to be kind of scary and creepy, I think, and it didn't work.
I like exorcist films. I like these
I do too.
possession films, and so this is up my alley. I like the cast. I like the director's previous work. Dry Blood was one of my favorite films of the year that I saw it. And it pains me greatly to say I did not like this film. It pains me greatly, but this film, it falls apart. It falls apart. I don't want to belabor it because everything that everybody has said is what I'm going to say. It unfortunately, the acting's all over the place. The camera work's all over the place. There's decisions they make with certain shots. I'll point out the bubble shot. There's like this weird thing where they bubble the people on the left and right side. I don't even know how to describe it. I was like, what the hell's going on? So hey, great for experiment, but that didn't work. So I did not enjoy my time with this. And that last scene, Christopher, where it did feel like a set on the stage, and it very well may have been. I mean, even walking through the door was like, should have been shot again.
The demon couldn't even make it through the door.
Right.
No, I wasn't talking about that.
Yeah.
I was talking about when when the priest walks out the door. Should have been shot again because I think he banged and tripped against the door. But anyway, this was I regret to say that I will be talking about this at the end of the year, and it's not going to be on the best of list. I hate to say it. Really
not to make this a whole sort of like crap on the movie party, I will say there's two parts that I think if it had been more like that, it would have worked. And there's one part where she's putting up the pictures or whatever, and there's like a weird Jesus figure.
The Jesus. Okay, cool. So you just took my favorite scene. Yeah.
Well, but I'm just saying, there's that. But there's also another part where he has the nightmare of his mom leaning over, and she's got
and the maggots
coming out of her eyes. Those two segments, if the film is more like that, I would have loved this. But there's other parts still work. There's a part where there's like the soldier boy ghost. There's a part where he turns around out. And he looks like an anemic Gomer Pyle. He just like he has this expression that I actually laughed because it wasn't scary. It was such a goofy expression. and there's things like that don't work. And we're in Spoilerville, so I'm just gonna say
we're in spoilers.
The Pug Skull Vegas showgirl look.
Oh, I know. Oh my gosh. What?
If anything, I felt bad for that kid.
Well, okay. So can we talk about that a second? Because is it how it was shot? Is it the expression on the kid's face?
Well, it's the look of it. It's how it's shot. It's in the middle of the day. And the kid is like got the weirdest. Some of that's direction. I don't know why he directed the kid to try to be creepy when this kid is just not creepy. This kid is not Linda Blair. This kid can't be Linda Blair. This kid can't act like Linda Blair. I'm sorry, the kid can't act. And as much as I hate to say that about kids, it's like, no, just keep him in his lane. He should have just had the kid stand there.
Well, but also I think whoever designed that outfit that looked like he just walked off, the Penn and Teller stage or something, the headdress, and there was almost like a bra type thing on it. And I just like.
I know.
I felt like we're people are gonna like give 10s or 5s for his sachet or something. It just I don't know. The look of it was there was nothing scary about it. It was more humorous.
I laughed at that. I was like, what
I
on
didn't
earth?
understand the design of it. It just looked like more of a showgirl type look. And you could. I mean, to be honest, I had to go back and look at it because I didn't even notice the pug skull because it was so clean. It wasn't
ravioli.
So what did he just lick all the blood off of it and stick it on his head? Ravioli. Yeah, and name of the dog Ravioli just made scenes like ravioli. I mean, it just made it more comical than
Mr.
sad.
Ravioli to you,
Mr. Ravioli. Okay. So I will say that I like the concept of what they were after, that the kid, created this get up, but it didn't come together for me either.
Like created it out of dead crows and
the dog,
and the dog skeleton,
which on paper sounds creepy, right? On paper,
make it look creepy. Don't make it look like like you just lost money on the blackjack table and he dated a
and I couldn't
like one of the showgirls walking down
part of what I couldn't understand was when the kid was talking in the demon voice, and I assumed that was dubbed, so why wouldn't you do that so I could understand it? I don't know. I couldn't understand about half of what he said.
Oh well, I did. I think Eileen actually did the voice, didn't she? I mean, much like she did with The Exorcist. I think. Well, yeah, I think that's why they had Eileen do the voice like she did in The Exorcist. And
but the sound mix wasn't good. It wasn't high enough.
No,
it wasn't.
But they were trying to make it spooky, and they were trying to recreate the feeling of The Exorcist. Like it's like you wanted to F my mother, and it just. I'm sorry. It just did not work. It was not scary at all.
Well, and you can do that with an instant filter, but the problem is the audio levels throughout the whole movie. And however they recorded the audio was off in different places. So, like you mentioned, like I think there's one part where I think it seemed to be more prevalent during the Vernon Wells thing. So it's almost like they use a different microphone or something during his scenes. Because again, there was that scene where they're in the church at the end. It's like very like talking in a hallway, or when they're outside talking to him, and it's like it seems so far off. And that's the problem. There's things like that. And you mentioned the audio being off, like the scene where she's like praying with her son, and there's a part where it goes by her, and her lips don't match anything.
Yes. Oh no! What about Vicky's scene? Vicky's scene when she's like the therapist or the doctor.
Oh God, that
like the audio slip is really bad there because I'm sure they ADR'd it because it sounded like they did the ADR, but it didn't match at all. And I'm like, whoa, I think that's why it's the one where she's like it's the blonde chick who she's telling him, well, can your wife go see someone of faith or something? Well, the last time she did that, she married him or whatever. Like that scene. It's like the audio slip was absolutely unacceptable. I'm sorry.
So,
it's that bad. Like that has to be fixed.
I forget who brought it up, but the whole detective thing just seemed.
It seemed like something out of a different movie.
Yeah, and I know that's the director, but and I thought he did fine doing it, but it just didn't fit the story. Like you said, it seemed like.
Well, there were calls to his earlier film, and the character is very much like the early, the Dracula film. And there's also a little Pazuzu in one scene.
Yeah. Okay. So I did notice. Well, no. Did you also notice they said it's all for you, just like The Omen? So he did. Yeah, the Easter eggs. Sorry, they get lost in here because they're not. They're overshadowed by a bad movie.
Yeah, because like you talked about the detective things. Both of those scenes, they just sit there and talk. They just stand there talking. They're talking in that room for a long time, and then he goes out to take the trash out, and they sit there talking. And to me, it just felt like, oh, I want to have more screen time because I directed it type deal.
I don't understand though. Like there is talented people involved in this film. And some parts are cool, like I said. And I think another part that was cool was the surgery. I did like the surgery. I like the way that. I love.
Mexico scene is that when they go to Mexico, it seems like the movie improved a bit.
Yeah, I agree. But I love Mexico.
Well, because they have they have the weird dinner scene. They have the scene,
the weird guy with the. Side of his face,
half burned or something. Yeah,
Clint Carney. Yeah, it was. He did a lot of the special effects, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay, so they had a few parts that were a few parts of the movie that were a little like. Well, she also said, although I think the nurse was hilarious, but she's like. I couldn't understand a thing she said. I brought her a tamale. It was from Trader Joe's.
Yeah, I was like, I felt like that meant to be a joke.
Yeah.
It just like hit like a dead fish on the table, and
I was like, ooh, okay.
Did we misunderstand this film? Is it just because? No, let's go ahead and wrap this up because. Well, go ahead, Jeff. Go ahead.
I was just going to say something about. She was down the list. Daniela Pallavicino. I was looking at her bio, and this is her first English language film. She was a Chilean actress, and apparently was fairly well known. Looks like she's in a lot of series and stuff. She did voice work where she did the Spanish characters for Karen Page and Daredevil, and one of the characters in Orange is the New Black. Has done a lot of work, and I don't think it's, I had a hard time understanding her, but I don't think it was her fault. I didn't think it was her. I thought it was the sound, and when it doesn't match, it doesn't, it screws up. It makes the acting look bad if the sound doesn't match.
There was but you could say that, but the point where she has tea with Eileen was completely ridiculous because she was not thinking about where her character was at that moment. Here she is perfectly lip glossed up and perfectly makeuped up, and yet she just found out her child is dying. there's nothing even comes close to realism in this film. She wouldn't be her. She'd be like, this tea tastes earthy. I mean, the dialogue is redonkulous.
Well,
like that's
definitely with script, and I'm sure there's
yeah.
Sometimes there could be like a mistranslation, I guess, or hard to sort of grasp around when the English is not your first language. But I do feel like some of her just physical reactions were just not good in scenes and weren't believable. And just again, it just took me out of it. And even the husband and I don't know. I mean, I don't know. They're just as sort of unbelievable as the CGI. But
so Doc is just sitting there being quiet, letting us, just go, okay. And Jeff is so sweet and is like, but guys, what about this? I know, and I'd like to be positive, and that's why I said,
I feel bad for not trying to be positive about it, but I'm hard pressed to be that because there's so many pieces in this.
I'm
for me,
sad
she was
about
not
it.
like what you guys are describing. I didn't have the problem with her. I had the problem with trying to understand it. I think because of the sound.
Yeah. Well, I will say that we are watching a screener, so hopefully that there's maybe there's a better version of it. So we'll cast some doubt there. But let's go ahead and wrap this up. Yeah. Let's give our final thoughts, our score, and our favorite scene.
1 to 5.
Please, Crystal, start us off.
And I get to go first. Yay, me! I get to be the guinea pig. Okay, I am so sorry. I know I have people I know involved in this film, and I feel really bad about it. But I have to be honest, or I shouldn't review movies because that's the way it goes. So, I'm going to give this film a 2. And, because it is below average. I'm sorry. It is. Yeah. And, I've said all I can say about the film. But my favorite scene, obviously Christopher mentioned him. I mentioned, it's definitely, okay. So what's funny is I'm going to mention the scene that he talked about again. That is my favorite scene, where the Jesus is in the hall. But the funniest part about it is I was half laughing and half really liking what I saw because her trying to hammer into the wall was absolutely ridiculous. Has she ever hammered anything in her life? Has she literally never hammered any? I'm like, the best thing you can do when you're acting is actually do what it is. Like, if you're going to look for something, don't pretend like just look for something. It's not rocket science.
You're looking from, you were like
the wall
from the viewpoint, of what she was handling.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. It shouldn't look like that. It shouldn't look like that. And the director should say, this doesn't work. This doesn't work. It's not good. It was a fail. That was but she's like, tink. I was like, no, okay. I hated that. I love the hallway.
The hallway
I thought awesome. The hallway was awesome. And so, yeah. Yeah. That's
very good. Very good. Thank
Peace
you.
Be with you.
Thank you very much. Christopher, thank you very much. No, Christopher, what was your final thoughts, your score, your favorite scene of The Devil, sir, please?
This is a film. I don't know. I mean, I know that when you create stuff, sometimes you run out of money, you run out of time, you run out of the ability to maybe complete things the way you should, and maybe there's still some elements that may complete before it's fully released. But I don't know. There's just so many different missing pieces. It's kind of obvious that maybe this is how the film's supposed to be. I don't know. There's so many quality issues with this, and as someone that worries about that myself as a filmmaker, audio can be a really big way that could ruin your film if you don't make sure the audio levels. We're having to do that right now with the film I'm working on, trying to make sure we get all the audio levels the same. And the acting, the majority of the acting is not great, and that kind of sucks you out of it. The dialogue, the script is definitely not great. There's long exposition type parts that are just there to sort of explain about things. that don't. I don't care. Just move on. And you can put all the Easter eggs in you that you want, but it's not going to make up for the fact that there's a lot of this doesn't work. I mean, there's even a part where he breaks off the key that's edited horribly. The editing is all over the place. Anyway, I'm not going to keep jabbering on about it, but and there's a couple of parts I think, like the Jesus part, or I'll say before I say my rating, my favorite part is the nightmare of the mom when she's leaning over and the maggots are coming out of her eye holes. I thought that looked very effective, and visually it's kind of cool because her face is almost like bluish and stuff. And visually, I think if they'd done that, a lot of the scares would work a whole lot better than they did. And they did try, because there's another cool shot where the nurse walks by the mirror and you realize the mirror is moving a different way than she was. So they did a pretty good job of sort of like inserting things like that. But then there's other parts that just, what is happening here? You know, and then you get to the whole sort of, pint-sized showgirls part, and it's like, no. What is going on here? What is going on here? I think.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I'm sorry if you've killed someone's dog. I think the detective would. I think you get in trouble with the police.
What a weird.
I don't know about me.
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to go off and or leave somebody stabbed in the bedroom either. But anyway, as for
what's your rating, sir?
1.25.
1.25. All right.
Oh.
I will say that scene with the maggots had me when the maggots were in his face. That
when
just,
they're flying in his face all the time, I'm like, oh, are they real maggots? Oh, I saw it move.
Yeah, me too. I was like, ooh.
Jeff,
Agreed.
Jeff, my friend, how you doing? Of the Devil, what is your first impression? No, we did that. What's your final thoughts, your score, and your favorite scene?
Okay, so some of the ones you talked about, but they're so. I'll just say right up front, I'm giving this a 1.5, and the 0.5 are for these few scenes like the mirror that you talked about, where the nurse comes in and then she walks away and there's still a nurse in the mirror going, what's going, doing something else. So the scene you talked about with the mother, I think, and what's my favorite scene is going to be when the neighbor is killed, where you get a view in the shadows of the neighbor going after the kid with a spear. And she loses the spear, and then you're seeing this through the doorway, and the spear does a 180 thing and shoots across the room, and then you pan in or the camera travels in and you see her pinned to the speared to the wall, I guess. So, and I thought that was well done too. So there's these few scenes that are really well done. The stuff with Robert Lasardo, but the sound and the editing, it's the only thing I can think of, but it really doesn't come off well. It just interferes with following the story, what I was thinking, anyway.
You're making this whole thing about your final, your favorite scene at the end. You follow it up with something else. All right, so yes, this movie did not live up to my expectations of the title, of the director's previous work, the actors involved. I really pains me to say that this film, I did not like it. 1.5 is my score. We've all said things about it, and I don't want to repeat any of that. So did I give you my score? I gave you my score, right?
Yep.
I'm not going to say it again. I want to say my favorite scene. Okay, you all took my favorite scenes. I may surprise you, because yes, it is kind of funny, but I kind of like the campiness of it being funny, and that is what we now are calling the Vegas showgirl scene. I don't know if I like it because that's because it's good. But I don't know. I liked it because it's the circumstances around it were just so bizarre and silly. You know, from the name, what, Mr. Ravioli, to the kids. The look on the kid's face. It was like I couldn't figure if he was laughing or if he was proud or if he was trying to grimace. But it was whatever it was. It was, and then the whole get up was just like.
Well, he was supposed to be changed, remember?
Right,
so I
right.
guess that's...
And I suppose it's supposed to be from the from them going to Mexico and it's some kind of Mexican demon. I don't know. Am I reaching? I don't know.
What? I didn't.
I don't know. It's just Aztec,
I didn't get that.
Aztec look.
I just thought it. Oh, well.
But
I guess.
Well, I thought that too, Doc. I mean, when they showed that, I was like, "What the f?" But then it morphed into something less.
It did.
Just
but
weird.
In the end though, I did have a good time with it.
I didn't know if it was a Mad Max reference to Vernon Wells.
Oh,
You know?
stop! No.
Oh, hey. That would be kind of funny, actually.
Oh man. It would, it would have been funny if that during that last scene they panned away and there was an audience. Sorry, Kelvin. Oh.
So I will admit, I did like the goblin devil. I liked the
I like
suit.
the look of it. Yeah.
I thought that looked cool. It looked like a goblin.
At the very end.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I liked
Where
the
he
way it
couldn't-
looked.
he couldn't walk through the archway because it's. his
Yeah,
horns are too
but
long.
I still liked him. I thought he
You didn't
looked
have to. You didn't have
scary.
to.
Yeah, yeah.
All
I mean,
right,
it was
there you
supposed
go.
to be like the Virgin Mary or the Unholy Mary, right?
Yes, it very much was set up like that. Yeah, I recognize that from
Why was
all.
Vernon Wells smiling at the very end?
I don't know.
Was he on the floor smiling because he?
I
Yeah,
thought
when he was
just
up there,
dead.
He was
he's
laughing.
like, ha ha ha, and then it's almost like well, anyway.
Okay,
I'm gonna stop criticizing.
I'm with Doc though. I like if you haven't seen it, Dry Blood's a good one to check out.
There you go.
All right, there's our review. It's of
I'm
the
sorry,
Devil.
everyone.
It's out on VOD
apologize.
and digital on demand. Check it out and let us know how wrong we are.
Hmm.
I will accept all comments.
Will you?
Christopher, Crystal, and Jeff, thank you so much for joining me. I love doing these most of the time. This one pained me, but
Yeah.
thank you. But I love being with you.
I
guys.
hate ripping a movie too. Like
Next time I'll bring a tamale from Trader Joe's.
actually that sounds good. Not gonna lie, I get mine from Costco though.
See, that was another one of those
Same.
things I couldn't hear.
I miss HEB. God, I miss
Probably good
Texas.
you didn't hear it.
Yes.
I'm like, was it? Did they say tamale? I couldn't tell. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean,
Please, let's say goodnight. Good night. Let's say goodnight.
Good night.
Bye bye.
sugar.